Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and today is Casing Tuesday. I'm going to give it a minute or so for everyone to get on. So, if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can definitely skip my blah blah blahing and jump right into the card making. So this morning, oh my gosh, my I am on my last nerve. The We are having a house built next door, not us, but someone else is building a house next door, and it is their third time trying to put in a footing for this house, and they are jackhammering out the old footing this morning, and it's driving me crazy. Like, I'm just like, I can't have my window open this morning because it's so loud. And they stopped, they took a break for a moment. But then I was just getting a drink of water in the kitchen and I dropped my glass on the counter. Luckily, it didn't shatter, but there was water everywhere. It was a big glass. So I was like, okay, I'm going to clean that up. And then I was like, well, I may as well do a load of whites while I have wet towels. So I got the towels in the washing machine, and I'm just telling you, like, I'm like ready to give up on the day and hasn't even started yet. But anyway, they will be done with that footing today. It is just a small section that they had left, but that jackhammer, I tell you, like it really does make you tense. Like you're like, I'm like, why am I so tense this morning? Like, why am I not happy? I was like this jackhammer. Okay, so reset and regroup. I Today's also the day that I get Instacart, and so I'm going to, after this I am going to go in to the kitchen and clean it up, and I'm going to go. I'm going to make some banana bread. I think that will make me happy. I've got some bananas that are really overripe, and I'm going to make some banana bread, make the house smell good, and then I will reset this afternoon after my Instacart stuff and get back to the business of stamping. I'm just, does anyone else have something like that? Like where they're working from home and they have these noises that they're trying to block out, and it's just, it drives people crazy. Anyway, good morning. Let me see who's commented this morning. Good morning, Brenda and Lynn and Cindy and Amy and Janine. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry for my little rant about the the what are they, the jackhammering that's going on this morning. It's just, I don't know. I think it would drive anyone batty for that reason. Oh, did you notice my hair? It's a little shorter. Yeah. So guess what? I didn't go for a haircut. I cut my own hair. I went in and I last night I was helping a neighbor again with the last of the tree that fell on his property, and I came back and it was pretty hot and gross. So I took a shower mid afternoon, and I was looking at my hair, and it's, my hair is really fine, and when it gets down to the bottom, you know, like after it gets really long, the ends tend to just tangle all the time, and it was driving me crazy. And so I'm like, I had watched this video on how to cut hair, and this morning it's just a little bit whoosh because I slept on it. But I am actually pretty proud of myself. It looks pretty straight. So I did this video technique with these elastic bands, and it worked. It actually worked. So I'm glad. I took about 3 inches off. So I think it looks a little better. And at least tonight when I comb it out, it's not going to be all tangly. So yay. All right, guys, I have blabbed enough this morning. Let's talk about today's card. And today's card is a square card, so it's a little bit unusual. That we usually do the regular standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This card, if we go to the sketch, I'll tell you in a second how big it is. The square. I made mine a little larger than this. Mine is a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 square. I like that because I can still get 2 card bases out of a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. So this is the little card, and he's so cute, and I would have replicated this little guy, but I had already done a lot of work with the birds and branches earlier, and so I thought I'd give some other things a chance. So you'll see my card in a moment, but this is the card out of the catalog that we are copying, and here is the sketch. So they started with, so they would have started with an 8 by 4 inch card, piece of cardstock, and then scored in half at the 4 inch mark to create a 4 by 4 inch card. And these are the rough measurements of all the layers on there. You don't have to follow it exactly. You can make your own decisions and, you know, choose to go a little, um, you know, smaller or bigger with the layers. And you will find those sketches over on our Facebook group, on Casing Tuesday Facebook group. You are welcome to join. Look for the link below in the description of this video, and please join us there, and you can share your own card. And it's a great group of ladies, well, ladies, and I think we do have some gentlemen as well, so I shouldn't discriminate or anything like that. Everyone's welcome that Stamps and Cards makes cards. There we go. Anyway, so my card today is, let me just make sure I have my correct microphone on. Okay, I do. I'm gonna switch my camera view, and there we are. Okay, here's my card. I really did something different with this card. I did a card that with the Many Mates bundle, and instead of doing a circular focal point in the middle, I took the Many Mates, you'll see right here in a second. This is the die, and I created a 4 by 4, well, it's not 4 by 4 inch square, it's a 4 by 4 medallion, and then I cut out the center and created a little frame for it. So I like how this turned out, because this is actually, it's not a super hard card to do. So, but I like how it looks like a little, still got, you know, the center focal point, but I changed it up a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about the Many Mates bundle here. Many Mates stamp set is all words. So, and they coordinate with this die. Now, on first glance, you're going to go like, why do they coordinate together? Honestly, I don't know necessarily like why they put these two things together, but they do have them as a bundle. The words are really nice in the stamp set. You've got your happy birthday that you can fill in, which is kind of fun because you can fill it in with different colors. But it's just a really nice word stamp set, so I really like that. But these things are just kind of fun elements that you can have on your card, or they can be the backdrop of your card like they kind of are for mine. So I do really like this, and I do have a plan. I have another design with this that I want to show. I won't show you today, but I have a plan with this that I think you might like down the road. Okay, so let's get started. And really, let's get started with the frame. So you'll need a piece of Just Jade cardstock. And whenever I'm cutting this piece out here, I always cut the full piece out, because I can use the edges, the extra pieces, if there's anything left over for another card or for my card on the inside. So I just go ahead and I cut a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece, and I just run this through my die cutting machine, and then this is what comes out of the machine once I've run it through this really cool piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to prep this piece, and I want like a 4 inch by 4, not 4 inch, 4 medallion over and 4 medallion up. So it becomes a square. So I'm just going to separate this piece along the edges. It's pretty easy. It just takes a couple of snips to get it out, and I kind of angle cut when I come to the corner, and snip, 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 and then angle. And then I want to cut these little brackets off the ends too, because they really they'll make it a little bit longer. It won't be perfectly square unless I cut these little end pieces off. Okay, so that is my square. And now I want to get rid of this inner portion as well to make it a frame. So I'll start here, and I'm going to cut kind of, you can kind of see I kind of cut like this. If you don't cut enough off, you can always come back and trim it. So with this square right here, this inner square, I'm going to go along the outside, just cut halfway in, turn it, and then cut halfway in. So you can see it kind of takes away the corner a little bit. Okay, and you can play with this. This is just how much I decided to take off. Okay, and just a few more snips. I just think this is kind of a fun piece to play with. You can do a lot of different things with it, put different paper behind it. I probably went a little boring with this, but there it is. Cute little frame. And look, now I have another medallion piece that I can use on a different project. So, you know, these little pieces, you can save them up if you want in a little bag or whatever, or maybe not. Maybe you don't care to save little scrap pieces, but you know, these little pieces could be used on a different project. Okay, so I've got my little frame, and now I've cut my piece of myself a piece of Whisper White, and this piece is 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. So I'm just going to put this over top right here. The medallion takes a little run through the big shot, and then you have to cut the frame. So I don't want to glue this down until I know that I can stamp my greeting straight. So let me grab my Just Jade ink pad over here, and I'm going to use Just Thinking of You. So I've kind of got this lined up underneath here, and then I'm going to ink this up, make sure it's centered. Okay, and that looks pretty good. When the Just Jade ink dries, it is a little lighter than it is right now. Then I will turn this over, and I'm kind of lazy with this one because I could kind of go all the way around the edge, or you could put this on an adhesive sheet and make it easier for yourself, but ooh, wow, my Tombo's really runny this morning. Okay, I meant to put like a little tiny dot on each center, and I didn't even squeeze, and it was already out. My Tombow, sometimes it gets really primed and you don't even have to squeeze it, it's just kind of flowing. This is a new bottle. So I just put a little dot of Tombow right in the center of all the medallions, and then I just need to make sure that I line this up on the edge so that it basically, I want it to cover and fill in. Oops. I want it to fill in all the white pieces. So because I only put little dots on, I'm going to have to press down a little bit on these guys so they stay put. Not as much adhesive means less contact. Okay, so there's my little frame piece. Doesn't that look pretty? And then this kind of reminded me of a trellis, so I went with the Flowers for Every Season paper. So here's a different pattern from that same pack, And I just chose one with busy overall flowers, and I think that's going to look really nice on there. And then I've got a card base. So this one was 8.5 by 4.25 and scored in half at the 4.25 inch mark to create my little card base. And I will take some Tombow. I'm gonna make it a tent fold, so the fold goes to the top. And there's so many pretty floral patterns in this paper, so you can, you know, choose your pattern for the background if you're going to remake this card. Okay, and then before I add this on here, I'm going to take some Just Jade ribbon, and I'm just going to cross this over here. I'm already feeling better. You know, stamping just makes me feel better, and the jackhammer stopped, so that is so good. I was like, I was thinking I was losing my mind a little bit this morning. You know, it's amazing how a little irritant like that can just like get on your last nerve, right? So I'm just bringing this across here, and I'm gonna tie a little knot. And I like to always use locking tweezers. If you've stamped with me before, you'll know I have a pair of locking tweezers. These are not Stampin' Up, but you can pick these up at a craft store, usually in the beading section. They're also available online, yeah, online shopping. But they're called locking tweezers because when you squeeze them, they open. When you let go, they close. So they act kind of like a thumb when you're tying a package with like a bow on a package, and you say, hey, put your thumb right here or your finger right here, so the knot stays down. So this acts kind of as my thumb. So now I can position this and I don't have to worry about things shifting. So now I can go leisurely and tie my bow. I have to think, okay, this one, no, I want this one to come up and this one's going to come down. I want the little ends to face a certain direction, so sometimes I have to stop and think, which way are you little guys going to go? All right. And then I can trim these off at an angle. All right, and then I want to add this with dimensionals. So I'm going to put one in each of the four corners. And then I'll just remove them, the little backings. And then just add this to my front. Hopefully I can get it straight. There. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so now there's one more thing I want to do. Since I have some of these medallion pieces left over, this is what I cut away. I'm going to cut away a piece to fit down here at the bottom. So I'm going to cut away this little end piece. Okay, I don't need that. And then I want to make this about 5 long. So, I mean, I guess I could theoretically cut along here since I'm doing 5 across. So we can do this. That way I have more options for down the road in case I want to use more medallions. Oops. And then come over here and go cut this. Okay, this could be another piece I could use in the future. And then I can come across here, 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 and there. And now I have this piece right here that I can add to the bottom of my card. And again, I'm just going to put a little dot Tombow right in the center. Turn this around. And I'm just going to add this to the bottom of the card. Pressing on those centers to make sure that they stay in place. There. And so now you have a spot to write something, but you've anchored it a little bit with a little bit of that mosaic piece. So there is the card. There's one card, and here is the other card. So you can see, maybe you can't see that there's the patterns are wildly different, but this one has some blue flowers in it. So you can do it with different patterns from that same paper pack. The green is a good color for the mosaic because it goes with a lot of patterns. There's just a tiny bit of green in each of these floral patterns. So I think there's enough contrast so that it comes forward a little bit. So what do you think? Do you like my little mosaic frame? I think it's kind of fun, but I don't know. What do you think? So I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at your comments. Janine says she thought my hair looked a little bit shorter. Yeah, I just, you know, I have to, it was like 3 inches. That was a lot of length to come off, and I just am not comfortable going out into the world yet. I have to say that I'm a little bit of a chicken, and you just don't know. I know they're taking a lot of precautions, and I am fortunate that I have straight hair that I don't do that much with. I used to put highlights in, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm fortunate that I have pretty easy hair. I don't think some people would not be able to cut their hair. So I am fortunate with that I was able to do that by myself. But not everyone can do that. But hey, if you can do it and you want to, go ahead, right? So anyway, let me have a look. I'm glad people like my little, envelope. Amy, thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so this card is too small. Let me go change this. This card is too small to fit in a regular envelope for mailing. So what I would do, let me just show you. If I were mailing this card, you can't mail this with US Post, okay? Because I think you have to have at least 5 by 5. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's either 5 by 5 or 5.5 by 5.5 to mail a square card. But you can get around that and use a regular first class forever postage stamp. So here is our regular envelope, and this can be mailed by US Post. So what do? I just throw this in here, but because it gets a little floppy, I would just take a piece of, Whisper White. This one, is this the right size? It's a little bit too big. But if this was 5.5 by 4.25, I would just put this in here in my card. It would be white. And then I tuck my card in here. Okay, and then I close the envelope. Of course, this card stock is a little bit wider than 4.25. So that way, when you close it up and you mail it, it acts like a 4.25 by 5.5 card. So you can mail it, and it's a square card, but it's in a rectangular envelope that is able to be mailed by US Post, and you just need just your regular forever stamp if it's the correct thickness and the correct weight. So yeah, so you can definitely, I'm glad you asked that question, Amy, because I was going to mention that. because square cards are always tricky. They do cost extra postage. The square cards, if you have them the right size, they do cost extra postage. So you can definitely mail these in a rectangular envelope and then just use your regular postage. So thank you for asking that question. Let me bop back over to the comments. All right. Okay. Yeah, so the neat thing about this die is you could also make a bigger frame, right? Because the whole piece is a lot larger. Now I've got it all cut up. But you could make a bigger rectangular frame with it for a regular size card that we make. It would almost be, the outside dimensions would almost be 4.25 by 5.5. It's going to be a little bit smaller than the card base. So you could use it to make a nice big rectangular frame rather than just my little small one that I made for this card. It could, be bigger. You just do kind of the same thing and you cut out the inside to create yourself a little cute little frame, right? Okay, let me see. Dee says that she's with you. I'm going out into the world. I feel completely comfortable staying at home and crafting. Yeah, I just it's hard. Like once you've stayed at home for a while, you really kind of develop this kind of I don't know if it's a fear, but it's kind of like the first step that you have to take to go out into the world. And I don't feel like it's 100% safe. We're in Massachusetts, so we've made great strides here in terms of getting the virus under control here. But Massachusetts is not an island, and so at any point we could spike up again just because of other influences. So I I do feel, and I probably shouldn't get into the mass debate here, but I think that that does help when you go out if you're in a place for a short period of time. Like I know it's probably not going to protect you for long periods of time. Outside, though, this week we had a big storm come through. I was going to do a live on YouTube on Friday, but the storm came through on Thursday night. And it took out all the power in our neighborhood. We had two trees across power lines coming into our neighborhood, and right in front of our house, across the street, we had a tree on fire. I don't know how, it was electrical, because the power lines were right up against the tree. And we lost power for 14 hours. And so I actually did go outside in the neighborhood this week, and I feel more comfortable in the open air. And, if I can maintain a distance, then I can go outside. And so it was good to see some of my neighbors and talk to them. So, because I kind of had to, I wanted to make sure the power company knew about our little situation that didn't have, we had a tree fire, it put itself out, thankfully. But all the attention was on the big trees that were down, and I thought they would probably not realize our transformer blew right in front of our house. And I had to get out and talk to them, and then I ended up seeing other people and helping other people, and so it did actually get me out of the house a little bit. So that was a good experience. I'm just like, I have a harder time with being in an enclosed space for a long period of time. So we're still doing the Instacart thing. And, I don't think I really loved grocery shopping before. I don't love Instacart, but, I don't know that grocery shopping was that much fun for me even before Instacart. So I think the only thing with Instacart, sometimes you lose a little bit of control over what exactly you're going to get if there isn't good communication. So that part can be a little bit challenging. All right, guys. Well, I want to tell you real quick, if you have anything, if you saw anything today that you liked, it will be over on my blog. If you click down below, there's a link that takes you over to my blog, and down at the bottom of my post you will see a supply list that lists everything that I used today. And if you have any questions, please email me. I have perks for people who order from me. One of them is a free tutorial if your order is at least $15. If your order is $50, for every $50 you spend in July 2020, Stampin' Up will send you a $5 coupon that you can use in August. So that's another perk. And then for every $50 you spend with me this month as well, you will get a pack of my retired 6x6 paper. It's paper. Some of it is 12 by 12 that I have cut up into 6x6 samplers. So it's kind of fun to get a bunch of 6x6 paper. It's a surprise. I don't let you know. It's just limited to what I have on hand, but it's beautiful, double-sided for the most part. There might be some single-sided patterns if it's a specialty paper, but it's beautiful Stampin' Up paper. So for every $50 you spend with me this month, you will get a pack of Designer Series paper sent to you next month as well. So a couple of neat things happening this month in terms of rewards for me. All right, guys, I hope you have a fabulous day. I hope there are no jackhammers near you so that you can have peace. And I have projects that I will be sharing later this week over on YouTube, aiming for 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you join me over on YouTube, you can see those. All right, guys, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.